podcast joint with Ciara.
Yo, what's the deal? We're in the house right here. This is the T Money podcast joint featuring Ciara Ross and me, the great T Money, of course.
Hey,
Ciara, what's happening, baby? What's going on? We have a special guest today. We have a special guest. Oh my God.
To be here.
Yo, Eli Jas in the building. Eli, what's up,
What's
baby?
good? How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, and I'm very excited to have you here.
Thank you, guys.
You know, I'm so impressed with you, man. You are such a big. Yo, let me tell you a little story, right? So, I met Eli at this Winterfest like a couple of years ago, you know, and I thought I was well taken by her. You know what I mean? So, I always thought, I said, well, one day I'm going to be able to actually work with her and do some things, you know what I mean? But since then, like her career like took off, you know what I mean? So now we're here to have this conversation about what's going on with her, how things, you know, actually matured in her career and how things, you know, how things happen, you know? So I'm very excited for her. So how you been? Talk to me. What's going on?
I know. So when we met, I was doing my bachata pop music, and I'm still doing that. But, you know, I wanted to dip my feet in different things. So now I also have Flourish by Eli Jas, which is my jewelry line and my merch line. But also I have my own podcast that's called Chatting with Jazz.
So talk to me more about that. You just told me that you had your own podcast, which is amazing, right, in itself, you know. So talk to me about what's going on. Who's on your podcast? I mean, when did it get started?
It got started when the pandemic happened.
Why did you create it? Let's start with it first.
Great question, because when the pandemic happened, artists weren't able to have a lot of, in a sense, like, you know, access to shows and things like that. So that stopped abruptly, and that was so hurtful, of course, to any indie artist, because that's how we kind of make our money, right?
Right.
So I was like, damn, okay, so what can I do? How can I spread my voice? And I was like, you know what? Since everybody's doing these IGTV lives, started to utilize that. So I was like, okay, you know what? We're going to call it Chatting with Jazz. Then I was like, you know what? I really like talking and just kind of engaging with the audience. Then I started having my friends that also are indie artists. They're not only indie artists that sing, but I also love having artists, actresses, actors, things like that. And I wanted them to spread their word on their own expertise so that we can learn from them. The pros, the cons, and if they made a mistake, what would you not want people that are, in a sense, aspiring artists or aspiring actresses, what wouldn't you want them to do? What are the mistakes that you don't want them to repeat? Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's something that we need to talk about, because a lot of people, I think, just kind of want to go to the top and they don't want to bring anybody with them.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? Nah, we're going to spread the noise. We're going to spread the advice. And I really wanted them to feel seen. And I think indie artists, it's really hard for us to feel seen sometimes.
Yeah, without question. I mean, most indie artists don't get the opportunity to do much. I mean,
exactly.
and a lot of people, you know what's so funny about this business? I mean, I've been in this business since I was 18 years old. You know, I had a record deal when I was young. You know, I did so many things in this business. I mean, it's really not about me at the moment. But listen, so I think in terms of indie artists, they have a very difficult time because most people don't want to invest their energies into creating anymore. They just think that things are just supposed to happen. Like, oh, you know, I'll help you if you go out and do it yourself. You know, well, shit. Why am I talking to you in the first place? Then I need help, obviously. You know, so it gets to be really difficult for indie artists. So this is partially why, and artists who actually have actually contributed to this culture, whether it be you know, bachata music or Latin music or hip hop. Any culture, and you know, after they get their hit, you know, people tend to be like, okay, well, so what's next? And if it don't happen right away, people turn their back, right?
She's a one-hit wonder.
It's a one-hit wonder, whatever, right? Yeah. So with that being said,
social media made it like that, though, T. Honestly.
Well, social media actually fueled it. I mean, it actually existed before that, but social media was sort of like putting gas on the fire. You understand? So my thing is, this is part of the reason why I created the T Money podcast joint featuring my lovely co-host Ciara Ross, because I want to give a platform to a lot of the artists that should get their flowers. Absolutely. You understand? And Eli is one person that should definitely get her flowers. I mean, when she's mentioned a lot of times, you know, I go, well, don't you people really understand, you know, who she is and where she's come from, and you know, and you know what kind of artist she is. No, but this is real talk. And with that being said, so talk to me a little bit about your beginnings, Eli. I mean, you're from New York City, correct?
Yes, right? New York. Oh my God, born and raised. So I am.
What part of the city are you from?
So I'm from Chelsea.
Oh,
but
okay.
Of course, we're in the projects, right?
Okay.
So,
right. Okay.
So born and raised there. But the thing is that it's a little different because when you're on that block, it's kind of like, okay, cool. You can see, you know, the townhouses and you can, but then since I'm in the projects, it's kind of like, okay, cool. You get to see all different types of people, hear different types of music. So I was like, you know what? When I was 18, I started going to vocal lessons for the first time with Craig Derry. So that's when I started. That's where I was
So
like,
let me ask you first before you get into that. So how did you know you could sing in the first place? I mean, me, like I tried to sing and that wasn't working. I was horrible. Even though
I know I can't sing.
And I kept singing. It didn't really matter, even if I was upsetting people. So
let me tell you, I definitely hurt my mother's ears and probably your ears, Joey. My brother's here too.
Peace out to Joey, man. Peace, baby.
Joey Lenz.
Yeah.
But I definitely, it's more so that you just have to practice. And it was surprising to Craig when I went to him and he goes, "You've never had any vocal classes?" I was like, "No, I just practice at home. This is something that I love to do genuinely." And when you have a good ear, you can hear when you're off pitch, you know? So I was like, oh, that's wrong. And also I had a very strict mother in a sense, not strict in a bad way, but she was like, "You better do that shit over." She goes,
right.
She goes, "That was pitchy, baby. Do it again." But not in a mean way. So I think she was giving me the best constructive criticism ever, and she was able to kind of see me as an artist. She was like, "This is what you want? Okay, cool. I'm gonna help support you."
Right.
And that's where it started.
Well, that's good that you had good support. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
When did you actually decide to take it seriously? Because it's one thing to know that you can sing, and that's
like, okay,
great.
I can hold it too.
Yeah, we can do some great karaoke.
Right.
But when did you say, no, this is what I want to do and actually pursue it?
Okay, so officially, you guys are gonna get the whole tea. My mother, y'all are gonna get the whole tea. My mother, she was on Facebook. She saw that, you know, the bachata game was heightening at the time. Prince Royce was popping at the time, you know, with his first single, Stand By Me. And so my mother knew his road manager. His name was Angel Vasquez. What happened there, my mom came into my room. I remember her telling me, "Should I send him a message? I want, you know, just to kind of ask for advice. What's the next step now? You know, after you've been, at the time I was doing covers on YouTube and they were picking up some numbers. So I was like, oh, you never know. And honestly, again, you never know what you're going to, what information or what gems people are going to drop. And that's why you should listen to everybody. Right. So my mom was like, okay, I'm going to send him a message. Let's see what he thinks. He goes, "She's amazing. I did a cover to Sedúceme by La India, which is really, like, her music, amazing. Her vocals are powerful." Did that, put it out, sent it to him. She was like, what are some next steps that I could take with my daughter? Simply, right? And he's like, "I need to meet her. We're going to be on tour in New York, and I need to meet you guys." So I got to meet Royce. Wow. He was supporting my single, which was really nice after I started working with Angel, and the new song, Tu Me Haces Volar, came out. And that I worked on that song with Ciara. So he was the first producer that, in a sense, really heard what I wanted to do with my music, because it can't just be traditional music. I have to add my R&B and my pop, which is how I grew up. You know? So I was like, all right, pop,
so you have
R&B.
You have a mixture of different genres of music, which
and
is
it's
cool.
fun. It's not supposed to just be one genre. And I remember people that were telling me, like, you know, should you mix the bachata game with R&B and pop? And also, you're a female, you gotta really watch that. Like, you know, they're not gonna accept you. You don't know.
Selena.
Yes,
that's what they did to Selena, right?
They were like, do you even know perfect Spanish? I'm like, no. I'm like, no. What are you talking about? I'm like, this is how I'm learning.
Right. Exactly.
Like, and you know what? It's beautiful because it's like, you know, I was able to learn through my experiences, you know, and from then on, I worked on my EP, put it out for free just so people could listen. And that's when things started popping off, and MTV Tres picked up that song.
Right.
And
so tell us a little about MTV. I mean, I have infinite knowledge of MTV, obviously.
Yeah.
And making any MTV show or doing anything with MTV is not necessarily the easiest thing.
It's not.
So there says that you wrote a few songs for some MTV shows.
Yes, so they asked me to write a theme song for Quiero Mi Baby, which was about people having their babies and also like the journey with what they're going through. Some went through good stories and bad stories, but they wanted me to write the theme song. So I wrote that with Ciara, and it was an awesome opportunity. I was like, all right, cool, why not? You know?
Right.
And I think that's how things happen gradually and, you know, organically. And I think that's the best way to build your empire, because you want to meet people that are genuinely into what you're doing, and you want to be surrounded by people that are also seeing your full potential. And I think that was awesome.
Right. This is great. You know, listen, I was in Philadelphia This was, I don't know, about 8 months ago or something, maybe even longer, right? So, and I hadn't talked to you in quite some time. Cause,
was it like a year or something?
Yeah, and then I was in this this restaurant. It was a Mexican restaurant, and I looked up at the TV screen, and I saw you on the TV screen, and it was your video.
Which one?
Elefant?
Elefant?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there like, you gotta be kidding me. My girl right there, Elle's in the building.
I know her.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, man, she's doing big things. And I was so proud of you at that point. You know what I mean? So
you're like, oh, she's still going.
Facts. And I told the people, I was like, listen, you gotta turn that up. That's my people. He's like, what do you say? What are you talking about? I said, turn that up right now. You bugging out right now. You gotta blast that right there.
I love it. Oh, so that makes me so happy.
No question. So you did some work with Sergio George too,
yes,
right?
I did. Yes, I did. So, when I first started basically when I first started working with Angel, he was already working with Sergio, obviously, because he was with, Royce.
Right.
Sergio wanted to sign me at that time, but the contract, I'm gonna be real, was just not it for me, right?
Right.
So I said
no. They try to play you. Okay, I understand. Just keep it 100. They try to play you.
They try to play me, but all I'm gonna say,
reading is fundamental.
Reading is fundamental. Please read your contracts, and if it's hard to kind of like, read the contract on your own. Obviously, invest in yourself. So I had to get a lawyer to look at it. It wasn't what I was looking for at the time. So after that, they found Leslie Grace, who's an amazing artist as well. She was in the Heights, and I think she was also going to play Batgirl.
Oh, really?
Movie. Yeah, but honestly, I'm rooting for her. I want to see her in another film. I feel like we need more Latinas, up there. So no
question. Salute the Latinas in the building and outside the building. You know what I mean? So
So when that started, I was like, okay, cool. This sound that I felt like was mine is actually not mine. It belongs to the people. So I was very happy at the fact that more people were getting into it, and I think unfortunately people were just trying to pin women against each other.
Absolutely.
So that was happening, and I don't understand why that happens, because we all have something to give to the public, and it's like we're not the same artists. So.
Exactly.
After that, I kept on working independently. I was working on my EP, kept on releasing singles. So that was something that I really, really loved. And, after a while, he started seeing my work independently, and he was like, all right, let me offer another. Let's see what's going on. So that was a little bit more, it was actually a lot better. So I was with him for just a year, and it was a single deal. So I think single deals are cool, just to kind of get your...
Well, back then, single deals were pretty cool. I mean, but now you need to get at least an EP, a lot of material out, I think.
So true. The only thing that I wish would have happened was for me to release another original song. I think the covers and things like that are nice, but after a while it just kind of is repetitive, and you have to believe in yourself as an artist. And if you have a team, I want them to believe in their artists to actually express themselves, authentically. And when you're doing a cover, you can do that, but only so much, only to an extent,
Right. So you I'm sorry, you were gonna ask a question. I mean, I don't want to interrupt you because you are part of the show.
I'm respectful.
I suggest you ask her a question. That's what you're here for.
Question.
Be like, girl time, girl time.
Right.
Yes, definitely. We gotta have girl chat.
Yeah.
As a female artist coming into this game, what hardships have you had to overcome? Because as you notice, it's definitely a different game.
Girl, unfortunately, I've had to deal with being sexualized a lot. Which is kind of why when I'm the type of person where it's like, yes, I could, dress in a certain way where it's like, I'm feeling myself today, I'm going to show a little bit more skin. But I think when somebody tells you, and it's a male talking to you, and they're telling you like, oh, you should show more skin, maybe you'll get more views, or this and this and that. I'm like, excuse me, what are you talking about? I don't need that. I have this.
Yeah,
I have my talent, and I want people to feel more confident in their talents than just showing like, and you can do that. It's fine. But if somebody's not comfortable with it and other people are telling you to do it, I think that's what pissed me off the most, to be honest.
And you seem like you're a strong female. How is it
have to be?
And how important is it to be a strong female and have a voice?
It's a must. It's a must. It's as if you, as a woman, you have to give yourself that voice, which is exactly why us starting our podcast, us starting, it could be a blog, that's something that I do on the side too. I love doing that. And it's like, you know what? Never give away your voice to anybody. So that's like when you're looking at contracts and things like that, definitely read them up and see, because you want to own your content at the end of the day.
And your body.
And you want to have your integrity at the end of the day too. So it's like, you know what? I said no, and I'm fine with saying no. That was my that's turned into my favorite word.
Well, no sounds the same in every language, by the way. It's N-O.
Yeah.
You know, and people need to understand that you have to have. You know what's so funny? And I'm speaking from a guy's perspective. Keep this in mind. It's rude and major league disrespectful to think that you can sexualize a woman in business. You have to be very careful, especially now, of what you say, what you do, how you approach this. You understand? And it's not really, I mean, honestly, the old boy network in regards to how things were done does no longer exist. But people still think it exists.
Completely different.
So you have to be very careful. And you know, you have to, basically what it is, you just have to lead with respect.
That's it.
You know,
Absolutely.
have some respect for yourself, first of all, because you look like a clown going there. You know what I mean? And then have some respect for who you're talking to. You understand? So that's what it is, man. You know,
and that's why it's also important to bring back the foundation of protection. Because back in the day, not for nothing, the brothers protected their sisters.
Right.
And the cousins protected their cousins.
Right.
Nowadays, where is
be
that?
Like, what happened? Be like, nah, that's I don't know her that well. So
exactly.
you know what?
Or, I'm kind of staying out of it. And that's for there. So when you're trying to achieve your dreams, especially in this industry, as a woman, there is somebody that you should feel comfortable with to be saying, especially for a guy, to say, listen, I'm having this situation. Can you at least speak to him, or how do I deal with it?
Or can you go punch him in the face?
That's
I understand.
That too.
Help me a little bit.
Jail. It's the weekend. You don't go to jail.
So listen. So with that being said, fuck them, okay? And
he said overall.
Real talk. We don't even discuss that shit no more. Fuck them. But now let's talk. Listen to me. I'm talking to you because I want you on my show today because I realized. Well, fuck that. Let me backtrack. I didn't realize how much shit you've done since I saw you.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
You've won awards and shit?
Yeah.
Well, this is my first time meeting.
Yo, listen to me. Hold on. I mean, you've won awards. But and it's not like you won an award like, somebody at the bodega gave you like, an award, but you won. I mean, you actually went to Puerto Rico and was at the what's the Univision does this.
I went to this was in Miami, right? So it was called Buscando Mi Ritmo.
Right,
so I was a celebrity contestant on there. So the whole thing was about they had different bands and they got to vote to see who they wanted as their singer. So I was able to sing with a band called Los Hollywood. So freaking good. They were so amazing. And I still listen to them till this day. And they had such amazing songwriting skills. And it was just fun. And also I got to meet different, big artists like Elvis Crespo. And also I got to do a remix to one of his songs called Sonrisa, which is one of his big singles. And I was like, ooh, I'm about to finesse this right now.
Right.
I was like, Sonrisa. And we made it into like a 70s, 80s song, which sounded really good. And we didn't win that episode, but I was like, I know we won in my heart.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Of course.
I was like, it was fire.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, we killed that,
Oh, let me tell you something. I don't have any awards, okay?
Congratulations.
Only award I get is when somebody says, I like your shirt. That
is a dope shirt.
But anyway, listen. Peace out. So look, but I was referring to the show that you went to down in, was it Univision does this show every year, sort of like the Latin Music Awards.
Oh, Premio Juventud. So I was nominated for Best New Artist, which is so cool.
Right. Which was amazing to me. I was like, what? Yeah. So how did that happen? Okay, you were at the Winterfest chilling with me. And then you're here. So talk to me a little about that. That must have been amazing, right?
So yeah, this was around the time too that I was I had left Top Stop Music, which was the label,
right.
And I was still indie. I was still working with my current manager at the time, and we were like, okay, cool. Like, how can we, continue this journey? And so I think they just put in my name and. They were like, oh, yeah, she is a good new artist. Let's put her in the roster. Okay. And I was like, hey, you never know who's going to win or anything. But just the fact that you're nominated, you have to add that to your, your successes. Why
Absolutely.
not? Why wouldn't you? Just because you don't win, it doesn't mean that you're not being seen. I don't know. I could take something like this and be grateful for something like this.
Absolutely.
Right. Just so you know, if you guys who are watching this don't really know what that award show is. It's sort of like the Grammys and BET Awards all all put in together as one thing. It's official. That's why when she got nominated for that and she won it, I'm like, what the hell is going on right now?
Well, I didn't win, but unfortunately, next time
she
you
got
never
nominated.
know.
Oh yeah, she got nominated. She didn't
You
win.
never know in the future. Though.
But I'm gonna have to speak to them about
Who's
that.
the first person you called when you found out?
Oh, my mom.
Oh,
my mom. I was like,
To the
yo,
mom.
mama toots. Yeah, I was like, oh, I need to tell her. I was like,
So let's go back to the fact that you didn't win it. I'm gonna have to speak to somebody about that because I don't appreciate it. Okay,
Go
just so
beat
you
'em
know,
up for me.
the next time we don't appreciate that. Don't be nominated. Don't get me all hype and don't give me the award. I don't understand
I won in
nominations.
my heart. We'll say that.
Right.
I won in my heart.
Right. Peace out to Angels and Cowboys, by the way.
Ooh,
You know,
yes,
this
salute.
is what
It's
we're
really
drinking.
good.
You know, peace out to my girl Kate. We're in the building.
Very tasty, by
The
the way.
T450 brand. Understand? We'll talk about that on another show. So anyway, yeah, this is great, man. I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm so happy to be here.
You know, so what's going on now? Like, what's happening with you currently?
Okay.
Besides the podcast we discussed.
Right. So I'm working on new music, which I'm really excited about. People know me for my Spanish music, but I was like, you know what? I started off doing R&B and pop music. So my music now, it's gonna give you kind of like little reminders of Brandy, Monica from the 90s.
Oh,
And I was
let me
like,
find
yeah,
out.
I want to use my voice, you know? I don't
Let me
want it
find
to
out.
just be, you know, because with bachata, you could do a lot, right? Vocally. But then if you really want to go in, you just have to do an R&B pop song, to be honest with you.
Right,
so I was
right.
like, you know what, let's get introduced to the R&B, what I want it to sound like, what I want this project to sound like. And it'll be kind of like, 6 songs. But then I also want to revive some of the old songs that I felt didn't get the clout that they deserved.
Right.
The attention, the love, and I want to bring those back too. So I'm going to just add those. I'm going to go, put them in the project and be like, okay, boom, new music. And maybe some old ones that you didn't listen to.
Let me ask you a question about the music scene, period. How do you
Sure.
feel about the current music scene? Not necessarily just Latin music, like the music, period.
In general?
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, a lot of things have been going on. I feel like, I'm going to be real with you. When it comes to the rap music, I feel like it was so much better when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Like, we were listening to Nas. We were listening to classics. We were listening to Tupac, and we were listening to Biggie. We were listening to all these classic men, and I feel like now it's kind of like, all right, well, I could listen to maybe one song because it's viral on these apps and things like that. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, cool. And it's
yeah.
And
And sometimes I
doing
feel the
this.
same. I feel the same way, and I tend to believe, like, look, I'm taking myself out of this energy. Like, okay, I love Biggie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love Nas, love all the classic, Rakim. I can take it back to Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One, Peace Out to Chris. I love all that, right? So, but then I say to myself, why don't I like some of the new stuff? Why? Like, what's the real reason why I don't like it? Is because they don't spit bars? Because none of them are like Jadakiss. None of them, you know what I'm saying? None of them are like a Jim Jones. None of them are like, they don't spit bars. Is that what this is?
it's like, it doesn't have substance. That's what it is.
Right, they don't have substance. Maybe because they have a whole new energy. So maybe it's
is a
like,
new
maybe
energy,
I don't understand at some point what energy they're trying to emit.
Yeah.
And because I like a lot of the new stuff, but some of it I just can't. I
Right?
can't
It
rock
doesn't
with
stick,
it.
right?
But then when I thought back then, there's some of the stuff back then I didn't like either.
True.
So maybe it's just that
Maybe it's a new
the
generation,
music is changing, and then we have to change kind of with it to a degree. But you
To a
all,
degree.
Thank you.
but
thank
but
you.
Pete, though, okay, well, you know what? Drink some Angels and Cowboys, and then talk to me about this at another time.
Right.
But listen, but my thing is, we have to start thinking in terms of maybe the music should be more filled with intellectual content.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is not filled with intellectual content. It's filled with piggyback content. If I'm famous for talking about shooting, killing, disrespecting women, X, Y, and Z, then the next person is going to do the same
Like, oh,
thing.
that's popping. So I'm going to do that.
Right, and this is what we actually don't want. You understand? We want, because when we, I don't want to give you a whole history dossier on hip hop, but at some point in the 90s, late 80s, there were groups that were coming out every single week. There were record labels that were popping up every week. And so that was a golden era of this music. And the funny thing is, not to even get off the fact that we're interviewing you, we're talking about something else. But
No, it's fine.
But what the whole deal was that, everybody that came out was different.
Yes.
They didn't follow anybody else, you know.
Completely.
When Run DMC came out, they didn't follow Grandmaster Flash and Furious, right? They were a totally different group.
Absolutely.
You know, when Tribe Called Quest came out, they didn't follow what Big Daddy Kane did. They were, you know, when MC Light came out, she didn't follow what anybody else did. They were different types of people. Now, if someone comes out, you know, they're gonna follow Migos. They're gonna follow all these other people.
Replication.
The same artist but a different name, which is not not cool. But anyway, you know, so CM, I mean, how do you feel about it? I mean, is this
honestly, I think it's basura. Did I get that right? Yeah. Come on now. I'm ready.
Yes.
The poquito, baby, poquito.
Yes, I'm telling you.
No, seriously, I think that they have taken the art. You strip the art from it. Because not for nothing, music is supposed to make you feel good and have you go through all the emotions. 100%. But now, you think about it, when you go out, people stand around.
They don't dance anymore.
You can't dance, and you can't even try to say, all right, look, let me try to make this make sense, because the environment and the energy, it doesn't even make you want to go approach somebody and say, hey, let's have a conversation. Right. Exactly. The music is telling you, you can stand here and look in your phone. Stand here and video and yourself drink. The whole
That's
time.
It. Yeah.
You could have did that in the house.
Facts.
You know what I mean? But back in the day, I used to tell you, yo, go get the squad. You know,
we're gonna
go
out
wash
and
your
actually
car.
dance.
Right.
Pull up at 8. We gonna have a party.
Exactly.
Right.
And then after that, we going to the after party. So you gonna sleep 2 days later. You know, it's different.
It's so different. And you know what? It's messed up because it I feel like music lost a little bit of its light because of that fact. Mm-hmm. But it's up to us to change it, you know. Yeah. And doing new music, I think that's a little bit more authentic and just not copying off of other people. It's just like, what's wrong with just being you? That's it.
So what do you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to just live in authenticity. Whatever I do in the future, or even now, like, you know, with my next steps, I just want to make sure that I'm enjoying the process, because I realize that when I'm not enjoying the process, I'm not in the best alignment for myself. So I have to listen to my emotions. That's what I figured out. You know, I'm like finally at 30. You know,
but grown.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? You know, if it's not feeling right to me, I have the ability to say no to it. And if it's right with me, I'm going to go all in, you know?
That's what's up. So listen, tell me what's next in the business front for you. What are you going to do besides the podcast and everything? Let me know. Because we want to know. We want to be on time. We want to be supporting you.
Yes.
You know, we want to be there for you. So let us know.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm very happy that you came today. We so appreciate you.
It was such a pleasure. And
let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, no question.
Okay, so you guys can find me at The Real Eli Jas on literally every platform. And the new things that are going to come out, other than the podcast, I have a new line of merch that's coming out, and it's one of the designs that I worked on with one of my friends, Jonathan. He's a graphic designer, and other than the Lucid Lotus that I have, it's an eye, but it also has the yin yang eye, but it also has the basically, it represents New York. So the lashes will be buildings. Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So that's something that I want to release, because I want to represent where I'm from, and I want to represent New York artists as well. So, yeah, I'm going to be giving those out. So that I'm excited about that. Like,
entrepreneur, that's what I'm talking about.
100%.
Thank you guys.
Congratulations. Give it up to you, baby. Give it up to you. This is the T-Money Podcast joint. We chilling right here with my girl, Eli Jas.
So much fun.
Ciara Ross in the building, always on my side. And you know, we out of here, man.
We gotta support.
And thank you so much for being here, okay?
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. All right? Cool.
It's the T-Money Podcast joint.